Joe, I have one question for you.
Am I ready for football?
Are you ready for some football? I was going to yell that out.
My parents are sleeping upstairs. I don't have parents.
You would look around this basement and assumed you lived with your parents.
I think that's what happened in my brain. I looked around and I thought that I was 15 years old living in my parents' basement. Yes.
Or 41.
Or 41 living in my parents' basement. God damn it.
No judgment, you loser. Wait, what? And then, anyways.
What about the football?
Let's get into the football. So, first of all, welcome, folks, to Carnival Personnel Sideshow. This is now an annual because it's 2 years in a row. The New England Patriots, I apologize to absolutely everybody.
And no one.
Season prediction. Mm-hmm. As I've been saying for the last 5 weeks now, it hurts me how uninterested I am in the team that I've loved more than I've loved any other team. Like, I've loved the Bruins my whole life, but the passion that I felt for the Patriots, like the last, 20 years, actually probably 30 years. I loved them in the Steve Grogan, Tony Eason era. But, the fact that they've been so great, and at the same time, literally, it takes nothing for Biff to needle me into going into a rant that Spygate was fake news, folks. And because always feeling so persecuted and have to defend them and the asterisk bullshit and stuff like that, it's only made people like me feel more part of a community. Defend. All that said, the Patriots over the last year have become any other team in the league with the off-field bullshit. We've prided ourselves on the fact that Brady's never been a top 10 pay quarterback because he doesn't want to take the big salary cap hit and have weaknesses on defense or have no run game or no blocking because he's getting all the money. And the fact that as much as I loved, and I can go over the 20 players that I love that we cut a year or 2 years early, or traded or parted ways with because Belichick gets rid of somebody a year early than a year late. He gets value of it. The fact that he doesn't overpay, and it's like instead of having one linebacker who makes $10 million, he'd rather have two $5 million linebackers on either side so you just don't run up the opposite side where the $10 million guy is. Even when, malcontents from other teams have come in here, not always have they worked out, like the Albert Hainsworth and the Ocho Stinkos when he was here. But Randy Moss and the Corey Dillons were malcontents everywhere, came here, model citizens, did great things. But we've always loved the fact that, people come here knowing you're not coming here for the big paycheck. You're coming here for the rings. The fact that, again, Brady, who was always on the off-season programs, the first one in the parking lot in the mornings and the last one to leave. And you can't fake that for 18 seasons. I mean, his work ethic borderlines on psychotic. And it's why at age 41, you guys are the same age. Doesn't him and management have the same birthday or pretty close?
Exact same
birthday. Same year, same birthday. Were they twins? Were they separated at birth? Should we look into that?
She does turn me on in a way that only Tom Brady can as well.
So there you go. Wow.
I don't know why I'm staring off into the distance so longingly, but go on about the football.
Anyways, so all that has been stolen from us this year. Now it's all the palace intrigue. It's become, one of these reality shows. It's become like a Jets type bullshit thing where the owner is meddling with the coach who he swore he wanted, so the coach takes it out on the quarterback who they have a frenemy relationship at best. Neither one would ever say, but both of them are waiting for the other guy to retire so they can win one more championship without the other one to say, see, it was me, not this guy. And all that has come to a head. And we always knew there'd be a price to pay. And it looks like the check's been put on the table, and now we're fighting over who had the appetizer and and paying this bill. That said, in 3 days kicks off the 2018 season for the New England Patriots. Last year, 13-3. They lost the first game, miserably so, and but still went on to make it to the Super Bowl. And that's the other thing, because of the drama, because of personality, not because of coaching decisions. For the first time that I know, Belichick let his emotions get in front of the team. Like, he did not put team first, didn't play Malcolm Butler. It's hard to say if you would have won the Super Bowl with Malcolm Butler on the field, but the fact that a backup quarterback scored on 6 consecutive drives while your best cornerback the last 4 years was sitting on the sideline. Would the Germans have won the war if they had the H-bomb before us? Who knows? But so all that stuff has weighed on me. I was correct last year with a 13-3 record. However, I didn't have them losing the first game at home so badly after the amazing Super Bowl. But that game last year, because we watched it together, it was over before kickoff.
Sorry, I was mid-chew. Thought you were going to go on for another 20 minutes.
I should have.
Yes.
But they did. Like last season, they wound up 3-1 in the first 4 games that Brady was suspended. Now the question is, will they go 3-1 or 4-0 with Julian Edelman suspended this year? That's the other thing. My favorite player in the history of the Patriots is Julian Edelman. Mm-hmm. And the fact that he's not going to be there the first 4 weeks. So you take Gronk missing the OTAs, Brady missing the OTAs, all the bullshit. Their first-round draft pick, who's had knee injuries all through college, you drafted him. There's a reason he fell to 31st in the draft. And they've never taken a running back at number 1. They didn't need running back. So you look at the Patriots depth chart ending last season. Running back was not someplace where they had needs to be filled. They had a very, very, very good backfield. So again, all these things, like, I don't get why you jettisoned some great people on the team. And so I'm not happy with their draft. I'm not happy with the off-field stuff. I'm not happy with Brady basically holding out, Gronk having caused trouble, Gronk basically holding out. They both had their contracts restructured, which, the Patriots blanked. Brady created a situation where they have no fallback plan now because Jimmy Garoppolo is 3,000 miles away. But again, they were 13-3. I had that right. I had the wrong games. Like 2 of the 3 losses I was off on, but I had the right record. I also had them, I think, I don't have it in front of me. I can look it up. I think I had them beating Dallas last year, maybe. But they didn't. But, overall, I was pretty close. Doesn't fucking matter.
No, it doesn't matter, unless you're a degenerate gambler and you bet only the season record for the New England Patriots. I don't even know what the odds are. I mean, I'm sure that you do when it comes to betting that far in advance. Like, can you bet? I'm sure. You can bet on anything.
You can bet. You literally can get prop bets. They call them.
Yeah.
You can take anybody's willing to take your money. So
yeah.
So let's get into this. The 2018 New England Patriots season starts off at home 3 days from now against the Houston Texans. Mm-hmm. I like their quarterback, young kid. He was the one Watson, who right after the hurricane, he found out that the 3 different women in their kitchen, in their craft services, lost their homes. This is a kid. This is his first real game check. Just signed it over to them. And no fanfare or nothing like that. Again, J.J. Watts, who, player I love to hate, has done nothing but amazing stuff the past couple years with his philanthropy, if I say that right.
Yeah, you said it perfectly. That I would not have bet on.
A lot. Billy O'Brien, Patriot offensive coordinator, is their coach. I like a lot of things about them. And the home opener, I don't like them to win. Not just personally, but I am picking the Patriots to win at home, 24-18.
Great.
You writing all this down?
No, you did. You wrote it all down.
All right, well, yeah, but
copying off of you.
Just to make sure. As my friend John says, the best advice he can give his kids with school is sit next to an Asian kid who writes big. 2, 3, 4. Game 2 on the road against the Jaguars. Jaguar. Cam Newton. I don't
still around. Still kicking.
Don't love the guy. Never met him. Don't know anybody who's met him.
Okay.
I'm just a dick.
Yep.
Maybe I'm a racist.
Just you could be a dick.
Okay, just a dick. They were 2 years ago. They were. I want to say something like 4-12. 5-11, way out of the playoffs. Then the very next season, like a worst to first story, went to the Super Bowl. And then they went back to being a cellar dweller last year.
Right. So you're thinking they were flash in the pan, and that they'll just continue their pattern of shit this season.
I do. And I have the Patriots winning that game 27-14.
Okay.
Game 3, I'm looking forward to. It's in Detroit against the Lions, and Patriots, defensive coordinator who I've loved. I've loved him, Matt Patricia. I've loved him forever. Amazing story. I don't know if it was a lookalike on the sideline last year that let the Eagles run up over 40 points and score on 6 possessions in a row. But he's one. It's funny because last year it was like, everybody thought that Josh was going to leave the offensive coordinator. And then this year it's like everybody thought they were both going to leave. And then when Josh took around, it's like he must know that there's a succession plan, that Belichick's a year or two away, and why would you go sign a 4-year contract when you're going to be given the keys to your city and probably have Brady for another year or two to restart your coaching career. Matt Patricia, by the way, 2 years ago, he was the one who famously got off the Patriots plane coming back from the Super Bowl, wearing the Goodell clown nose, and people are like, well, no one's going to. How much did that hurt him not getting a job last year? Mm-hmm. So I like him a lot. I just, again, I don't know Cam Newton, but I don't like him. I don't know, him.
Maybe you are racist.
But because he is white. Wait, what? But I do. I like him in his interviews. He's very, I just do. I like a lot about him. I don't like him in this game, and I think even without Julian Edelman, the Patriots start off 3-0 by winning, by 2 touchdowns, 31-17 in Detroit.
I think Matt Patricia is going to give up 31 points.
I do.
Wow.
I do.
Just because they don't have the talent is that it? They don't have the
I
talent
think it's just the talent. I think he will do well with what they have. I think their quarterback is vastly overrated.
Uh-huh.
I also think that it's going to be fun. It's like, how much is Josh up for creating a new offense that Matt hasn't seen, working with each other every week for a few years?
This is home field advantage. Not that means much to the Lions.
Ford Field is right. So they start off 3-0. Then they come home for week 4 against the Dolphins. Joe, first loss of the season.
Yeah, well, the Dolphins usually have their number 1 out of the 2 games, and this is the one.
I think the Dolphins win at Gillette Stadium week 4, and I think they win by a touchdown. It's not a blowout, but I do. I think the Dolphins. And again, the Bills, nobody celebrates September like a Bills fan. And I think I think the Dolphins are better this year. I think they're 8-8, 9-7, a borderline playoff team. And I think this is probably one of the biggest wins that they'll have.
Okay.
So, and then, Julian Edelman comes back to a 3-1 team, as Brady did the year before, to play the Colts at home, who have, Luck back, not Lady Luck, not the horseshoe, on the helmet for Luck, but Andrew Luck will be back, and I think it's a blowout. I think it's 38-18.
Colts, wow.
No,
see,
I think that would end the podcast if that happened. Not because you called the Colts, because I won't live to. There'd be no point in going on. The love of my children would not be enough to suffice. Still hate the Colts, but I do. I think Jules comes back and just Tommy wants to welcome his favorite weapon back and just make sure he's raining down on him. I think Jules has a touchdown, a hat trick of touchdowns.
Oh my!
Very much looking forward to that. Next, the following week, still home, 3 home games in a row, and they play the Chiefs. The Chiefs have made, a lot of changes, especially at quarterback. They still have my second favorite tight end in football, Kelsey. But I for some reason, despite them beating the Patriots week 1 last year, I don't see it happening 2 years in a row, and I have the Patriots 31-21.
So the Colts is a Thursday night game, and
It
then we got the following Sunday for the Chiefs.
Yep. And then we have, after that, it's the Bears away. And only because it is the Bears, I say the Patriots went away 34-28. I think it's close, but I think it's one of those late touchdown by the Bears against our second or third stringers to make it look close. But then still staying on the road in Orchard Park.
Monday night game.
Dun, 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 dun. I think, it's the Bills, and I think it's a blowout. I think it's 29-10. I think it's like, I don't think the Bills have done much in the offseason. I think to say that they'll be a little better, it's like, yeah, I think they're pretty much the same. I think they're like an 8-8 team. I think they're the old forever 500 Hartford Whalers of football now. Then, big game, Aaron Rodgers comes to Gillette and hands us a loss.
Finally.
Yeah. I think that's a shootout. I think it's 38-34. I think, I'm saying this now, 2 months out, and saying I almost am happy because the week leading into this, it will all be, is this Aaron Rodgers' year? Is this the year he is on the MVP? Is Brady done? Is Aaron's, the heir apparent for the next 5 years? Brady loses, and it ignites him for the second half of the season.
That's a Sunday night game.
That is. So a primetime game. Now, for those along playing at home, Biff, I've already, in the first 2 months, have called 2 losses at home at Gillette, and the Patriots are something like an 850 winning percentage. At home. So right now, that's a big loss. Then they're home. They're still home the next week against the Titans.
No, that's away.
No, that's away. Sorry, I did have it away. 24-14. I think it's a pedestrian game. I think the Patriots are not lackluster, but they don't bounce back and shell the Titans on the road. It's funny. They will be playing Malcolm Butler, the aforementioned benched player in the Super Bowl, and I think he's really up for the game. I'd almost like to say I'd like him to have a couple picks. I really would. I mean, he I don't know what happened.
Couple picks. Wow.
Yeah, I would. I
hurtful.
Yeah. I feel really bad. I mean, the guy won the Super Bowl against Seattle. Mm-hmm. Brady had a great game. He was MVP of the game, but that single moment, it's if it stays fair, home run.
Yeah.
It's Havlicek stole the ball. It's
Oh yeah, it was beautiful.
Or Sanderson back or score.
Yeah.
It's like that, and it's tough with 5 Super Bowl wins. It's tough to say what is the greatest call. Is it Vinatieri's kick? Is it because that came down? That was the last play of. Well, no, they still had a run 2 offensive plays, but that won the Super Bowl, and he was crucial in the win 2 years later to Atlanta, and then sits on the bench. I will never understand that. I hope the Patriots win, but I would love Malcolm Butler to have a couple picks, and as he's walking by, Bill kind of tossing the ball on the sideline. I would like that. The next week, it's a win.
We have a bye week,
right,
and then after that,
the Jets. Jets suck. But not in this game. The Patriots win, but 31-29 is what I'm calling it. Yep. Following week, Vikings away. Patriots get their 3rd loss of the season.
It's a away game for the Vikings.
It's a away game for. Am I reading that wrong? Are the Vikings come here?
Yeah, Patriots home.
Then I am still calling it 34-21 for the Vikings. And then we have the Dolphins. And you ready for this? Dolphins sweep the series.
Oh, my.
I'm calling the Dolphins to win both games.
That's a bold statement.
27-14.
Bold.
It is a bold statement.
I don't agree.
But and I don't think that's happened
Ever?
It hasn't happened. No,
in our lifetime. In my lifetime. I don't know.
3 words for you.
Yeah, maybe.
Dan fucking Marino.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a little younger, but the scar here. Look. See that scar right there? Yeah, that's called 84, baby. You know? So yeah, no, it's a stunner. It's a stunner. But I'm saying that the Dolphins, for the first time in the Brady era, sweep the home and away.
Okay.
Moving on to the Steelers the next week, bounce back game. And it's one of those things where I think the Steelers coaching staff is watching the scoreboard of the Dolphins game, and they're like, "Oh fuck, why do we have to be next?"
I would maybe in the past I would argue that the Steelers wouldn't give up a home game to the Patriots, but we've seen the Steelers blow home games against the Patriots.
It's like the Bruins with the Montreal Canadiens. Some teams generationally. It's not like for this 3 or 4 year era. It's like
tradition. Yeah.
Right.
You're under the mistletoe, you kiss.
There you go.
You blow home games if you're the Steelers against the Patriots.
Then they're home against the Bills, blowout. They're 34-10. And then I'm calling the Patriots' last game of the season. They split the series with the Jets, and they lose at home. I'm calling the Patriots losing 4 out of 8 home games in the regular season this year. They lose to the Jets, and maybe it's because they're resting half the team because they got the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm calling an 11-5 season, which very well means the Patriots could be playing wild card weekend. I have them at one point playing the Dolphins in the playoffs and crushing them. Like, absolutely crushing them. Like, the Dolphins feeling good about the season series, and then come playoff time, absolutely getting crushed.
Do you foresee any sort of like wild card maladies hitting the Patriots?
You look at their record in the Brady era. They're great in every year. I mean, I'd say 5-3 in the Super Bowl is pretty damn good because you're playing the best team in the other conference. It's not they're in the AFC, title game, same thing. They are in the Brady era 8-3 in the AFC title game. And those 3 losses really painful. Like a couple of those painful losses. The divisional round, they've been okay. Wild card is the only time I think Brady has lost 2 wild card games in his career. So, no, but I do have them beating Miami in the playoffs, and I do have them beating Aaron Rodgers and the Packers in the Super Bowl in a blowout.
All right. Now, let me rephrase my question because I used the term wild card.
Okay.
Do you see any sort of potential injuries befalling the New England Patriots?
Absolutely, 100%. I again, Gronk.
I mean, obviously they're going to get injuries, but do you know?
Like a Gronk, like a Tom Brady
Yes.
going down or something like that.
Or Jules.
Right. I mean, here's the fucked up thing, or not the fucked up thing. Here's the reality. Julian Edelman, by the time he comes back, hasn't played an NFL game in 15 months.
Yeah.
He didn't finish the season. He missed all of last year. So he wins the Super Bowl.
Are they going to have to point him in the right direction on the first play?
He missed all of last season. Wins the Super Bowl against Atlanta. Missed all of last season, and now is going to miss the first 4 home games. So, seriously, that's a long way. So the last time he had played a game would have been February, the first week of February, 2017. So that's, what's that?
Yeah,
18, 19 months.
Yeah.
It's a long fucking time not to be playing a real game. So, we'll see what, how he rehabs and stuff like that. I just hate to say it. And it's so predictable that Gronk, you always have to worry. In his tenure with the Patriots, again, first ballot Hall of Famer. I always sound like I'm down on him. He is an unstoppable force when he's right. He's just been hurt more than he's been healthy his entire career. Well, that's not true, but 40% of the time he's been hurt.
Yep.
And it's not that he's brittle. Couple.
The bigger they are, the harder they fall.
He has that one really freak injury, like blocking an extra point and destroying his forearm and having I think it was 4 or 5 surgeries, ended up getting infected, a staph infection, all this stuff. And again, it's right now, he's the only tight end. Technically, he's the only real tight end. They didn't go out and draft a stud tight end. They didn't get anybody in free agency. They have the drop off between number 1 and number 2 on the tight end depth chart is the same drop off between you and me in the good looking category. Mm-hmm. You're up here.
See what you do.
And I'm impressing Helen Keller.
Oh my goodness.
Her nickname for me was
what? I thought we could get through a whole podcast without some sort of crass humor. Okay, let's talk about the changes in the NFL rules.
Oh, yeah.
Leading with your head.
So,
what's the penalty, by the way? What is that? 15 yards for automatic first down?
They're trying, and automatic ejection. I think it's an ejection for
what, multiple, twice? Is it 2 strikes you're out?
I thought it was a 1 strike thing. That there's a couple leading with your head,
Are there multiple leading with your head rules?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's from the first 2 weeks of preseason, and again, I haven't watched any. I don't even know what the Pats record is in the preseason, but I know there's been a couple automatic ejections for first time type thing. I've been saying that we're getting too close to flag football, but of course, it's not my head being bashed around. Go ahead, do the Simpson thing. We paid
for blood.
Well,
actually, it's more we paid for blood. All right, go ahead. Well, that was Hans Moleman who delivered the line.
But we but
I've derailed the tight-knit podcast we had going.
But we really don't know what all the changes are. I mean, a lot of these changes were just announced just before training camp started. So it's not like even in the off season, the coaches were working on things. It's going to be really interesting because every couple years they decide we're going to call the buck rule this year. What? The whole what is a catch thing is completely changing, and what is pass interference and extending with your arms and how much can you offensively push off. I mean, in the last couple of years, Gronk has been called more for offensive pass interference than pass interference against him. And again, when he went nuts last year and had that little incident, you could see 3 different people pulling, truly, it looked like he was, the lead dog in the Iditarod. And
right.
people were holding on to him, and getting a free ride. And then they ended up calling him for the penalty. And it was ridiculous. And again, because he's so good, because of his size and stuff like that. In hockey, you've seen that. You've seen guys take runs at somebody who's twice their size. They throw themselves at somebody and bounce off, and then the ref turns around and it just assumes it was roughing. You're picking on that little chihuahua. The chihuahua's being a chihuahua.
I'm reading about the leading with the helmet rule and how that might lead to an ejection. Apparently, it says that any player who initiates contact with his helmet is subject to ejection after an in-game video review that will be decided in New York. So there's nothing clear-cut, as per usual in the NFL rule book, about what will constitute an ejection. Sort of like judging pornography. I know it when I see it.
And there's nothing that helps speed along the game of football like gray areas.
Right. This is going to be interesting. A foul can be called regardless of where on the body, not just the head or neck area, that one player hits another with his helmet. The rule is not position specific. But they say this is not going to be an ejection fest.
It was the first couple games of preseason. It's like you look at the number of people ejected in the first week and the second week versus the third and fourth. I only know that because they were talking about that on like the Sports Hub, briefly the other day. The refs don't even know how to call this yet. And now if you're going to eject somebody, are you going to go to the side? Is this another reviewable thing? I mean, before you eject somebody from the game, is this going to be another 5-minute stoppage of play in between plays? The pace of play has really grinded to a halt like the last couple of years in the NFL, and adding something else that is going to be reviewable.
It adds ad dollars.
Yeah, it does.
Has a lot of commercial time.
But again, and it's funny. It's the two side of the coin. It's like, well, the ratings were down last year, like 18 or 19 of the 20 most watched programs last year were still NFL, but they were down from the year before. So they're still the most watched thing out there. And is it people are watching less because of the kneeling, because of the pace of play, or because there's Hulu and Amazon Prime and
the NFL Network, the Red Zone.
NFL Network, and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, there's more. It's more about the streaming and also, don't forget, people tend to watch NFL games together. Like, I don't know how they judge ratings, like versus NFL ratings versus primetime ratings, because you factor in, okay, one household equals this many people. Well, a lot of people, more than the average household number watch on one television at a time.
I honestly think polling's probably more accurate now than ever because we're all wired in. If you're watching on, and that's the other thing, streaming was the big thing. Like, and people are saying, yeah, why? I'm not sitting at home watching it. I'm at this stupid wedding watching it on my phone. Type
right,
thing.
but like, do they count one viewing of the NFL as one person?
I think they
4
go
people
by
or
like
10 people?
The percentage of TVs,
right.
And the algorithm is, yeah.
So that's the thing, is that there are fewer TVs because a lot of people get together. Like, everybody's not at home watching TV alone.
So we watched Game 1 last year with 7, 8 people at a Buffalo Wild Wing, but it was on 20 screens. Like, so how do you?
All right. Yeah, I don't know. Who cares? But yeah, you're right. TV is down across the board. Now you mentioned the kneeling thing. How is that just gonna haunt the NFL season? Like the entire NFL season do you foresee that this will go away or no? I mean, as long as Trump is president, this is just going to be an ongoing thing with the NFL and kneeling.
I don't even want to go. We'll talk about this as it happens the first couple weeks. And then now it becomes: are people kneeling because the Black Lives Matter and they're protesting that and they're bringing eyeballs and raising social awareness, or are they kneeling to protest?
The president's response,
right,
sort of like an FU to the president,
right.
like out of spite,
right?
Like
FU Cadet Bone Spurs. It's like, is that why or are they doing it to poke the bear, type thing? I really don't know anybody who's not going to watch because of that. I personally have not had a conversation with somebody saying, I live for the Chicago Bears, but I'm not watching another goddamn game because one person kneeled.
Did I hear correctly that certain networks aren't going to televise the national anthem?
And again, I've been working with the NFL on anthems for like 12 years now and stuff like that. Most anthems, when I started doing this, were not even done. Like, I remember the first time I did one with the Cleveland Browns, I thought it was sound check. And they were like, "Oh, that's great. You want to go up to the box now?" And the artist and I were like, well, how long will it take to get up to the box? Because it can be, you know that. It can be a 30-minute thing to get from the field, to the box. And I'm like, well, are we going to go all the way back there and come back down and do the anthem? And they're like, you just did the anthem.
Right.
We literally thought that was sound check. And it's like, no, that's the anthem.
Nobody was in their seats.
Nobody. The players went out on the field. It was players warmed up. Players got off the field. They had some, ceremonies, giving high school kids, different accommodations, sang the anthem, and that was it.
But for big games like on Sunday Night Football, for example, like the premier Sunday night game on NBC, they're gonna air the anthem because
will they not show the players kneeling? That's like the big thing. Will they show the anthem singer? Will they show the crowd? Will they show the players not kneeling? Maybe and just
I think
avoid it.
If it was up to NBC, they would definitely show the player. They would show. They would treat that game as they would in any other game. They would show the reaction of the players on the field, panning down. If there were people kneeling, then of course they're going to pick them up. And I think they would go out of their way to get like a sideline camera of one player who's like down the line that's not clearly visible in the crowd, kneeling, focusing on a kneeling player. I think that NBC, given their druthers, would focus on that. Now, will the NFL fine NBC for airing? Are they going to start imposing their some arbitrary rule like you're not going to be fucking showing the anthem during the game, and if you do, you're paying for it.
One of the many interesting things about this debate, how few players have been kneeling. Like to begin with, we're talking each team has 45 men on the roster. So, week one, 32 times 45, you might have under 50 players kneeling total throughout the league, throughout the 32 teams. You might have one or two players. You might have a team that has 5 or 6 players kneeling. You might have a team that has none. And so to make it like, the funny thing is the people who think they shouldn't be doing this, they have no right to do this, you're giving them the bigger platform. If you really wanted it to stop, ignore it. Just ignore it. And here's the other thing. Here's my biggest fucking takeaway. Again, my Fox watching parents are on the, they should be standing, type thing. Are you saying that while you're sitting on the couch watching them? I mean, how many football games at my parents' house have you been to? A dozen?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen them stand up during the national anthem?
To be fair, maybe.
I mean,
I think I've seen your mother walk around, but she's usually, serving me something delicious.
Well, that's true.
So I can't
it's true,
besmirch her name.
But that's the thing. It's like, how many people at the bar saying these ingrates should be standing up are wearing their trucker hat, sitting on the bar stool, watching the game while the anthem's going on?
To be fair, sir, those stools are fused to their asses.
Right. Okay. You thank you for bringing the other side to light. But seriously, it's like how many? I mean, honestly, am I disrespectful because of all the Pirate games during the national anthem? I stand up, but I'm on a set of headphones talking to the director about shots around the building. I'm talking during the anthem. Standing up, don't have a hat on. Have my headphones on. I'm talking the whole time.
Vladimir Putin over there, I can't see so good.
So again, there's so few players doing it. What's going to be interesting is, of course, ever since Kaepernick, I don't know any real big names who have taken a knee, who are going to alienate a sneaker deal or alienate a big fan base.
Would a J.J. Watt be kneeling?
No, definitely not.
No, he's all American.
But what was great is I forget recently. When Bloatis was going after LeBron James, and LeBron James's response really, Aaron Rodgers thought was the best. Nothing. He didn't acknowledge it. Didn't acknowledge it in his next interview. Didn't spend his next time, the next interview the next day, LeBron didn't, talking about what Bloatis had said about his Don Lemon interview. He spent his next interview talking about the school.
Yeah.
That's it. He stayed focused on what was important. He didn't tweet. He didn't Instagram. He didn't do any public statements. He just ignored it. And Aaron Rodgers is like, that's the best way to deal with it. But on the other hand, you got Jerry Jones saying he's going to suspend any of his players. Now, I don't know. I haven't followed football that closely in the last couple months. I don't know if anybody signed a contract, in the offseason with Dallas that says, yeah, I'm okay. Or if the players union would allow a contract to be signed.
I don't think so, because you're rewriting everybody's contract. You're amending everybody's contract.
So if a Dallas play, and that's the other thing.
I guess if you make it part of the NFL rules, then that would be
a rule violation,
right?
But again, are you? I mean, because yes, the NFL, the No Fun League, has fined people for wearing the wrong color sneakers, but you don't get a penalty for wearing the wrong color sneakers. Would you fine the team? Would you fine the player? But would you penalize a team on the field, give them a 15?
No, that would
for something that didn't take place between the lines.
No, that would never happen. No, it's obviously a fine.
So here's the thing. So Jerry Jones is going to suspend somebody. Is he going to suspend the 54th guy, dressed for that game. But what if it's his star player? What if it's his star, running back, wide receiver, quarterback who takes a knee? Is he literally going to call down for the press box, say that son of a bitch is out of here?
We'll have to wait and see now, won't we? But anyway, so yeah, I thought we would end on a sour note.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
But that's it. That's the Patriots 2018.
Well, no. So
what?
I have 11-5. Them winning the Super Bowl against the Packers on the way out, on the way beating Miami in the playoffs. What do you got? Just give me a regular season record.
What did you say? 11-5.
I said 11-5, losing 4 home games.
I'm gonna say, what the hell? I'm gonna say 10-6.
Ooh,
just to be a dope.
And 10-6. Do they still win their division?
That's where it comes down to the rock paper scissors rule, which didn't. I
mean, do you see the Jets, the Bills, or Miami winning 10 games?
No, I mean, I don't see the AFC East being like a dominating.
But 10-6
force.
probably means they play a wild card game. Where do you have them going to the playoffs?
I was told there would be no math or football during this conversation. I don't know. Honestly, I don't see them going all the way.
You don't? Do you see him not making it to the Super Bowl?
Yeah,
losing
that's what I said.
Title game, losing a wild card game, divisional.
I see them. I'm going to say they don't make it to the AFC final. I don't say conference final.
So they're losing a second round.
They're going to lose a division game.
Round.
Yeah, I'm going to say they're going to lose a division game. I say the wheels are going to come off that train right quick. Something isn't passing the smell test this year in my womanly opinion. It's
Brady's last year.
Could be. No, I don't think it's his last year with the Patriots. Maybe.
No. If they were going to get rid of him, it would have been this offseason. It would have been after they would have. If they were getting rid of him,
right?
Because the trade value. I mean, the value. It's like it would have been a perfect fit for him to go to San Francisco. Mm-hmm. He's not going anywhere else. He's not going to go anywhere else to a team like. So if he gets traded to like the Browns, he'd be like, yeah, fuck that, I'm done. Like I'd rather retire. And then you don't get the draft pick. No, if he was going to leave, it would have been last year. A great offensive-minded coach in San Francisco. That would have been. He wouldn't have liked it. He wouldn't have liked to leave New England. But like he said, Montana didn't end in the 49ers. Namath didn't end with the Jets. Unitas didn't end with the Colts. So you go down the list. It's very, very rare. So he was pretty sure that, he might not end there, but now that's off the table. No, he's not going anywhere. The question is this his last year? Is it Belichick's last year? Is it one or the other? Is it both? I mean, because we're definitely coming to the end.
Yeah, it could be. I guess it will all depend on how well this season plays out. If it's a 10-6 season, I'm sure somebody might be going.
If it's 10-6 and you win the Super Bowl.
If they win the Super Bowl. I mean,
when? I'm sorry, you're right. When? Thank you for
I can see this is a fair and balanced fucking A.
So the Patriots are in the Indianapolis 500, and they join the bus. Is Belichick driving the bus?
Right.
I think the New England Patriots will win the Masters Championship this year.
So this has been a spirited conversation. We've learned. If you learned anything, it's that I don't know anything about football. There's no way what I say is going to come true, and I didn't say much.
Yes, but I know a lot, and that doesn't fucking matter.
No, none of this matters. What does this all mean?
It means we're 44 minutes into a podcast that should have taken 20.
That's right. I'm sorry, folks. Sorry about the kneeling stuff. Sorry about the helmet rule stuff. And just enjoy yourselves. Remember, kids, it's just a game.
No, it's not. My whole self-worth is derivative of how these people play whom I've never met and probably never will. And the fact that I wear a jersey of a guy who retired 10 years ago directly correlates into how they do.
Yep. That pretty much sums it up.
That, and Joe, do not forget,